Hi everyone, Sid here back in the bathroom ready for another shaving rant after about 2 weeks. For what it's worth, I did shave a couple times in the last couple weeks, but I don't think I ever shaved like the way I usually like to. It was typically just wetting my face with a sensor and going "Ugh!" and then slapping on the aftershave and getting out of there. Before I get into today's topic, just want to announce that I made playlists on my channel, so if you haven't checked them out already and you haven't seen that many of my videos, it might be something that would be interesting to check out just to get some collections of videos on a certain theme. And yes, some of the videos are in multiple playlists, but I think it's kind of easy to see how they're relevant to different things. So today's lather will be Pro Razzo Blue, to which I will be adding lavender and patchouli, and for the aftershave I'm going back to Bobanum. So to celebrate my comeback to the shaving blog, I want to record part 2 of the series on sociopaths and free markets and liars and things like that. And just before I continue, I want to say that the prediction I made in the first video, whereas I'm probably going to spend more time presenting the position than defeating it, is most likely going to be false. But I'll still share the reason why I had that presumption, because I think that the argument we need a government, because without one, free markets would, without one, the sociopaths would run wild. Sociopathy is running wild, brother! And all the sociopaths would have their way with the rest of us. But the nutshell of my retort to that argument is that no matter what kind of edge a sociopath has over a normal person or an autistic person or whatever, whatever problems that arise can be worsened through coercive association between the sociopath and his or her prey, and would be the damages would be alleviated by a voluntary association. The way I sometimes rephrase that argument mockingly in my head is that some husbands are abusive to their wives and some of the wives enjoy it, therefore arranged marriage. Or some bosses are abusive to their employees and some of those employees enjoy it, therefore slavery. I don't think that the problems, even if valid, would support the existence of a coercive monopoly over that issue. So, of course, since my goal behind this series is to convince someone who isn't already in the choir and who wasn't just nodding, well, of course, duh, with all the other stuff I was saying, I want to devote this first video to one of the premises that was assumed in that I went over in video number 1, which is that sociopaths will always have the upper hand. And you know what? Before I start going into that, I'm going to lather up my mouth. I'll be right back. So the reason I reject that argument is because I have this metaphor which isn't unique to me at all, but it's kind of like a cat and mouse game. When someone is trying to protect their property versus someone who is trying to obtain someone else's property against their will, or through the direct compulsion or manipulation and fraud, there is a cat and mouse game. Like a useful example to illustrate would be the duel between locksmiths and lockpickers. Like the locksmith is trying to come up with more and more effective ways to make his locks difficult to pick, whereas the lockpicker is crafting his tools and honing his skills to be able to pick more and more elaborate locks that are designed to keep him out and that kind of thing. And the reason I'm not too worried about sociopaths having the upper hand is because the info needed to detect them and protect yourself from them is pretty much out there, and I think that it's just a question of letting people acquire that information and use it. Another example that illustration that I came up with was the good old days of poker that I never knew. But apparently, when Doyle Brunson, who was the first person that I know of to write a book on the poker strategy and that kind of thing, in a day where a bunch of people, like the majority of poker players at that time, didn't even know that there was a strategy. And just, oh, the look of the draw and stuff like that. And luck does play a part, but to those of you who know poker, you understand that to a skilled player, it's you're basically playing against luck in the sense of being able to tilt the odds in your favor and get a little more money on your winners and lose a little less money on your losers and that kind of thing. I'll be right back. So when Doyle published Super System, a lot of people had to change up their game because of the strategy that everyone was using, and tight aggressive play in general is just a nice solid way to play poker, but the more effective styles of play tend to evolve and change and things like that, and I'm probably outing myself as the semi-amateur poker player that I am, but I think it's an illustration of the constant cat and mouse game that exists between people who want to protect their property and people who want to enable others to protect their property versus people who would try to obtain that property unjustly or without the owner's due consent. And that's the thing. I mean, this argument yet again boils down to I just don't trust people. In this case, the free market is less effective than a state at protecting people from sociopaths. It boils down to I don't trust people to protect themselves from sociopaths. I mean, another example I like to break out when having discussions like these is without the mechanism of the state, Hitler would have been just some lone nut talking in the street and maybe convince a handful of people to carry out his violence with him. But you need a mechanism to empower a sociopath to do some really massive damage on such a large scale. So, yeah. Before I let you go, I just want to give the rundown of my tricks for detecting sociopaths. Or the way I work is I look for clues that will get people on my short list, and then from there, it's just a question of either them staying on that short list of potential sociopath or graduating off of it through, I mean, there's no one-size-fits-all means, but let me just get straight through it. Basically, the quick and dirty way to detect a sociopath is to basically be on the lookout for a brazen lack of empathy. I think that that is the key feature that distinguishes sociopathic behavior from neurotypical behavior or autistic behavior is the fact of a brazen lack of empathy, like seeing someone, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example where a neurotypical or a normal person wouldn't necessarily react that way, but let's say seeing someone stub their toe and laughing, let's assume that they're not friends and ripping on each other and that kind of thing, would be one example, although that in itself wouldn't be enough to get someone on my short list, but it would be a little flag there. But basically to look for some really brazen opportunities where there's just no empathy present is something to look out for. And on the flip side, I wanted to talk about some prevention, because one thing that I noticed in Stefan's posts is the whole association of neurotypicals with automatic behavior and basically acting in an unconscious and basically robotic way, which I think it ties down to the human nature versus human condition issues that I've talked about before, because I think that it is observable that these kinds of behaviors happen with most of us, and a sociopath who is in a strategic position could set himself up to use those kinds of automations to commit fraud and whatnot. But a way to prevent that is self-knowledge, because and there isn't that much time for me to go into this in this video, but the whole trying to substitute some emotional need by buying shit or repeating the same behavior over and over again without much conscience of why you're doing it, without much self-reflection or looking at taking a real good look at yourself. These are all typical of people who have no self-conscience, self-knowledge. If you don't know who you are, it's very difficult to be free, because someone can be hijacking a part of your cognition and you wouldn't even know it, because without self-knowledge you can't detect the true self from the false self and stuff like that. So sadly, that's just something I wanted to put out there, but there'll be more videos in this series as I attack other premises behind this notion that free markets are less effective than states and governments to protect people from sociopaths. So on that note, I would like to thank you very much for watching. Please like and share this video. Feel free to leave comments right under here, and you will find links to my Twitter and Tumblr right under this video right here. Please subscribe to me on YouTube also, and you can follow me on Twitter and Tumblr. Links to all of this is below. I hope to see you soon, and again, if it takes a while, trust me, it's very likely that I didn't break out this kit and I was just going with my sensor and just getting the fuck out of there, which sadly I had to do for the last couple weeks. So enough rambling on my part. You take care. I'll see you soon.